Live Jump with Anita Brad.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Live Talk with Benita Bradley. I am your host, Benita Bradley, and I hope you guys have had a wonderful day and have had a wonderful week thus far. Listen, if not, tomorrow hopefully will be a better day for you. Listen, we have some interesting, might get a little heated, but we have an interesting topic I wanted to finish talking about. I wanted to again tell you all thank you for those of you who were praying for me and my family. You know, my mother passed 2 months ago, so I have been just taking a little bit of time off. But tonight we are back in full swing. We actually did a pop-up show a week or so ago. It was like at 1 o'clock at night. I just kind of did it to get myself back in the field, you know, of being in front of the camera again or what have you. And some of you may have seen it and some of you may not have seen it. But at any rate, tonight we're going all in. And so I'm going to get live in the comments section with you guys. We want to welcome back to the platform all of our Facebook channels, YouTube. We are connected to Periscope, Twitter, and Instagram. However, we're not streaming to those two tonight, just because I didn't get everything, you know, set up. And then I wanted to really give some attention to our discussion tonight. But next time I'll try to have everybody live streaming at one time. But we are live streaming on YouTube. We are live streaming on Facebook platforms. So if you want to join the discussion tonight, I will provide, this is the first time I've ever done this, I will provide the link for you to join in this live discussion. So what are we talking about tonight? Tonight, we're going to finish up our conversation. Like I said, we did a little pop-up show, and I was going over the topics that will be coming up. And one of the topics was from a conversation that I had previously with someone else. And they made mention that sometimes the black man's public enemy number one is the black woman. And so we were talking along those lines, and so I want to kind of finish that conversation and add a little bit more to it. And then we had a wonderful comment that came in and said, no, basically I'm paraphrasing, no, the black man's public enemy number one isn't necessarily the black woman, it's his pride and his ego, you know. And then our guest that was on, he said that he believed that the black man's public enemy number one is the media. And so now tonight we're going to have that discussion. So we want to look into, well, is it the media? You know, what is the black man's public enemy number one? Is it the black woman? Is she doing all she can to help nurture and, you know, promote him and, you know, stroke his ego when he needs his ego stroking and all of that? Or is she his greatest enemy? You know, does he have to fight the world, you know, and then go home and fight with her, you know, or what have you, whatever the level of their relationship is he fighting the world and you also, black women? So we want to talk about that tonight. And then the next thing we're going to get into is it his ego? Is it his pride? Do black men have what's the word? Do black men have these sensitive, you know, egos? You know, are they easily offended by the least little thing you say, even if you're trying to say, hey, I need you to love me this way, I need you to protect me this way, you know, or I need this from you? Is that seen as a slam against him? Or, you know, does his ego provide him the opportunity to learn from his counterpart or from other men? Does he have an ego issue? Is it his pride? You know, does that stem from something that happened way back when. So we're going to talk about that. Is his own enemy his pride and ego? And then the last thing we're going to talk about is how does media portray the black man? Our guest had made mention that the biggest enemy of the black man is the media. So we're going to look at that tonight. And I have some interesting clips for you guys tonight. Very, very interesting. One in particular was so interesting. I thought to myself, I kept looking. I was like, is this guy black? It was a black man saying some stuff that a lot of you, I know black men are going to disagree with him because in some areas I disagree with what he said. But then again, in some areas, I can kind of see his point, the point he was making, So tonight, that's what we're going to get into. And again, if you want to join us live, send me your email address and I'll send you the link and you will appear live on the show. Now, listen, there are some rules about appearing live on the show. Rule number 1, if you're going to come on live with us, please be appropriately dressed. This is not a fans only show, okay? This is not the show that we want to see how low you can go, all right? We don't do that over here, all right? So if you want to join the show live, please make sure you are appropriately dressed. Do not come on here naked. Men, don't come over here with no shirts on, put on some clothes, present yourself, in such a way that you look like you have some degree of, integrity and some degree of, just be careful how you present yourself sometime on social media, okay? Rule number 2. Make sure you have adequate internet connection. All right. Make sure you have adequate internet connection. Oh, wait, back up. Rewind. Ladies, don't come over here with your boobs hanging out. Don't do that on here. Save that for your after dark show that you do. Okay. Not this show. All right. So if you want to come on, here are the rules. Number 2, make sure you have adequate internet connection. Wi-Fi, whatever, however you connect to the internet, please make sure it's adequate, okay? Number 3, rule number 3, please make sure, our guest is here tonight, please make sure that you have some kind of device where you eliminate all of the background noise. We do not want to have a lot of background noise as we're having our discussion. So please remember the rules. If you want to come on live, the link is available for you. But I'm going to need your email address or WhatsApp or however. I'm thinking about posting it in the group, Live Talk with Benita Bradley. On Facebook, I may post it in that group, but I can only let in up to 6 people. After I have about 5 or 6 people on at one time, I'm going to cut it off. Okay? So, rules again, you want to come on live, make sure you're adequately dressed. I don't want to see your body parts on the show, male or female. I want to see what cup size you are, male or female. Rule number 2, again, please, ma'am, sir, make sure you have adequate Wi-Fi connection, okay? And rule number 3, please, ma'am, please, sir, make sure you are in a place where there is low background noise. All right. So those are the rules. If you want to get in tonight on the discussion, you are more than welcome to get in where you fit in tonight. And our guest has arrived. Thank you, Mr. Keith, for joining us again tonight. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Why don't you introduce yourself to our audience tonight?
My name is Corey Keith. I'm a dating expert and coach with over 20 years of online dating expertise. I help people with profiles, dating, matchmaking, and going out here to those who've been married for a long time, getting back out here in the dating world, which is really rough right now. It is definitely rough. It's not the same as it was in the 90s. It's not the same as it was in the early 2000s. This is 2021, and the rules and games have changed quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I saw a post on I think it was Facebook or somewhere, and it said that it said the dating phone has piss in it now. So
Oh man.
so I'm like, well, you kind of got a point. It's not what it used to be, and also I think the male female relationship and even the way we communicate with one another
Mhm.
has changed drastically. And we're going to get into all of this tonight because, listen, if we don't change some things, it won't get changed. And we can sit around and keep talking about what they or them or those do and those are them and they don't do. But until we make a change for our own community and for our own people, things are not going to get any better. In fact, they're already getting worse by the day because we just don't know how to talk to one another. And it's, you have so many educated black people, men and women, that just don't know how to talk to each other. And so we're going to look into it. We're going to get into all that. Let me make sure I got all my volumes down on my devices. All right. See, so this is going to get good. And like I said, I have some incredible videos to share with you guys tonight. Quite a few of them. One of them in particular is going to be a little mind blowing because I was like, what he said. So, um, one of them might have a little language in it, but hey, you hear that kind of stuff every day. So I'm going to tell you now, all thoughts and opinions and views expressed on this show is not necessarily the thoughts, views, and opinions of Benita Bradley or Live Talk with Benita Bradley. All right. That being said, let's get into it. So, Corey, the last thing we were talking about was black man's public enemy number one. And so, remember I said that I had a conversation with someone and they were saying that the black man's public enemy number one is the black woman. Um, did you agree or disagree with that?
I said I understood his viewpoint
Mm-hmm.
and how he came to that conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of disagree with it.
Okay.
And what I said, what I believe the number one enemy for black people as a whole is the media.
Okay.
Number two would be the government. It wouldn't be a black woman would be on the list, but it'd probably be like number 3 or 4.
Okay.
I wouldn't rank it as number one. But I do understand what that gentleman is saying and why he believes that the black woman is number one.
Okay. So then, if she is on the list at all, you said she would be lower on the list. So if she is on that list at all, tell me the first thing that comes to your mind that would uh, give credence to her being on that list at all.
The thing to me why she would be on that list
Mm-hmm.
is when we talk about black women in general. I'm not saying all
Right.
black women do this, but most of the time when black women been date a black man, they got hurt, scorned by, wasted 2, 3, 4, 5 years with a gentleman. All of a sudden, they bashing all black men.
Mm-hmm.
All black men this and they ain't no good. But when a black man gets hurt,
Mm-hmm.
we're not bashing black women.
Okay.
We just move on and go to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference between us as men and black women.
Uh-huh.
And the problem when black women do it is you're saying this in front of other black women.
Mm,
And when you say it amongst other black women, that might be somebody who's young or don't have that much dating experience.
okay.
So now they thinking, well, you're older than them.
Mm-hmm.
You should be wiser than them.
Mm-hmm.
So they're taking your advice as concrete. And it's not. This is just one experience you had with a bad one, or maybe you had 2 or 3.
Uh-huh.
But they're not looking at it as maybe it's your poor choices of what you're picking versus they just look at you, oh, here's a lady in her 40s or in her 50s. She must know more. She has to be correct, or she's much wiser and older and more experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not always necessary.
Okay.
The case, and most of the time.
Yeah. And I agree. And I think sometimes we as women, we have to make sure that we don't make our personal experience, you know, the law for all, you know. So if I have a bad experience with a gentleman, um, then I should not take my bad experience and say, black men ain't no good, you know, black men ain't ish, black men ain't that, you know, I should not do that. And I think what you're saying to the women is that it's kind of like a poison that's being spread, you know, especially
Yes.
when we get in these, you know, girl groups and all that kind of stuff. And girl, that's right. Cause let me tell you about this no good fleet that I was seeing, you know, then she chime in, girl, you know, and so, but no one wants to say, but that's the one I chose.
No, because there's nobody sitting there asking the question,
Hmm.
well, how do you meet this person? What
Hmm.
happened? Men would do that if they dating you. They was that you mentioned about, oh, I was in this bad relationship, and we'll ask you what happened. Because
Hmm.
that's one of the names we want to know is it you or is it the gentleman that you was talking to? And you're kind of
Hmm.
find out it's usually the accountability issue. It's the woman.
Yeah.
Some she did, some she didn't do.
Hmm.
You come to the table half stepping, and you know, and you got 100% man, and he's a great provider. He's doing all these things, but there's things that you're not bringing to the table that you're supposed to bring.
Yeah. So I did invite women on the show tonight. You know, I left it open for any women who want to come and be a part of the show. I left it open for them to come and join us live on the show, actually. And so far, I haven't got anyone to take the bait. So I don't
Oh,
know. I don't know if it's a point of them not wanting to say to men what they say to each other, but I do need them to realize that's the problem. You all are not talking to men, you're talking to each other. And the more you guys talk to each other, the less you're going to actually know about how the man thinks, how he feels, you know, what he, you know, the less you're going to know about the man. Because when we get in our girlfriend circles, we can talk about our experiences with a man, but we cannot tell each other how it is to be a man. We need to talk to a man to figure out what it is a man feels, what he goes through. How does he feel when he fall in love? How does he feel about being portrayed, like you said last time, like a thug by the media? How does he feel about this notion that if you're black, then you're scary? You know, if you're black or if you're successful, you sell drugs, what you do? You know, there's some kind of stigmatism always attached to being a black man, and we won't know that valuable, critical information if we just keep talking to each other. And so I hopefully before our time is up tonight, hopefully we'll get a woman on and she'll share her thoughts on this particular subject as well. And men, you're all welcome to join in. If you want to get in on this live discussion, let me know. I'll send you the link. I was thinking about posting the link, but then I was like, I don't know if I just want anybody jumping on here, because I want to be able to control the atmosphere of what we're talking about, and I don't want anybody to come on here bashing women, and I certainly won't have anyone on here bashing men. That's not what we do on this particular platform. What I do would like for to have an uh, 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 equal representation across the board for men and women. So again, if you want to come on while we're in this discussion, let me know and I'll get you on. Uh,
And let me
but
say this: I welcome any woman to come on if you have something. You know, someone who's been out here dating and have a lot of experience in it. Maybe you want to know about a particular scenario, or maybe you want to know about your life, and more than welcome to come on and get tell us about it, give you my feedback. Maybe you do want to say something negative about men, and you want to know what the counter or what reason why men act this certain way. Why do
mhm,
they do this and why they do that?
mhm,
That's all. There's a cause and effect to everything we do in life, and a lot of people
mhm.
don't. A lot of black women seem to forget that. So
Oops,
I welcome anyone to
sorry,
come
sorry,
off
sorry,
here or
sorry.
something.
I thought I
You
quieted
know,
that. Sorry. Okay, so let's get back into it. Black man's public enemy number one. All right, so let's start with this. Let's start with the black woman. All right, the black woman. Do you feel, I'm going to ask you some questions so I can get
Go
your
ahead.
feedback on it. Do you feel today, we're talking 2021, do you feel that black women today see black men in his true form or as he really is? Or do you think our view of the black man has been skewed a little bit because of the things we've gone through with black men?
Definitely the last one. This has been screwed due to their life experiences of black men. Also, what they hear their single girlfriends tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that gentleman believes the number one enemy to black men is a black woman.
Mm-hmm.
I say the same about black women. Their number one enemy is a single black woman. That's their number one enemy. It's other single black women.
Okay, let's stop right there. We can't just roll over that one because we need to get into that one.
But
tell us what you mean.
What I mean by that, it's just like I said earlier. If I'm, let's say like you, for instance, or any black woman that's around, and all your friends are single, and you're in a relationship, and they're not. They have zero successful relationship. They're not married because they were successful. They've been married. And you go tell them about your relationship. Only they can tell you how to stay single. They can tell you how to ruin your relationship. Oh, girl, don't let him do that, to this, to this, to this. Nobody runs you. You the queen bee. You tell him what to do. What? That's not, I mean, and I also tell people, it depends on what religion you are. If you're a Christian, Muslim, what faith are you? Because if you say you're a Christian, then the man is the head of the house. Same thing in the Muslim community. The man is the head of the house. So what religion are you basing all this nonsense off of? That's the first thing you got to do, because as a woman, you're picking a man to grow old with, to die with, to be a provider. He's all these things for you, protector. So you have to pick accordingly, because you don't want to follow an idiot.
Right.
It can take long to figure out somebody has the potential to was husband material. I'm not saying it don't take us long to figure out whether your wife material. Because I don't see the point of dating 5 or 6 years and you don't have no ring on your finger and y'all ain't married. You're just wasting each other's time.
Preach.
Why are you doing that? So back to the topic of a black woman being public enemy number one. You are in a way, but I wouldn't say number one. I put you a little bit lower down the scale. But you can't sit here and bash black men over and over and over. But you want one.
Right.
That doesn't make sense.
Right. So do you think that their anger then is valid against black men?
Definitely angry. Definitely. But I don't want to.
But is it valid?
Some sense, I would say no, because someone really they're bringing baggage into a new relationship and they need to go need therapy. Right. But that's taboo in the black community. It's pretty much, you mentioned therapy, counseling, or anything. Oh no, I ain't crazy. It has nothing to do with being crazy.
Right.
Or you done lost your rabbity mind. It just has something to do with you need some healing. You need to talk to someone. It's normal to feel pain or feel this, but you need to get over it and move on. Yeah.
And I also think one of the greatest things I learned from therapy is accountability. That's one of the greatest things I walk away with because I'm in therapy, and I'm a great proponent of therapy. And I believe anytime you go through anything in life that's traumatic, and a lot of times just life period can get really hard. It can get hard. I think therapy is a wonderful tool that will help us, like I said, to see things clearer, and also to be able to sit in the seat of accountability, first to ourselves, accountability to one another, of course, accountability to God, the universe, or whatever your higher power is. I don't necessarily get into all of that, but it gives us a seat to sit in our own accountability, and whereby we become better people. And it takes away the blame game, I like to call it. Well, I'm like this because you hurt me. Well, okay, I'm sorry I hurt you, but how long are you going to be like that because I hurt you? You know, and so that's when my accountability has to come in and say, you know what, I'm going to take responsibility for my part. If I had not stayed with you long enough after I saw how you was behaving, or the first time you hit me, or the first time you threw a shoe, or the first time, you know, you came home drunk, or the first time you came home with lipstick all over your shirt or whatever, you know, all of that, we have to learn how to sit in our seat of accountability by how we allow people to treat us sometimes. And so that when we take back that accountability, I think a lot of times then we can lessen the pain that we go through, whereby we also lessen that bitter taste that pain leaves in our mouth. So then when you do see women sitting around in these groups and these hubs and stuff, and all they're talking about are the negative parts of black men, you know, it's very rare. I've never heard it. Maybe someone else out there have. It's very rare. Once somebody in the group will say, wait a minute, y'all, wait a minute. Wait a minute. We need to take accountability for some of this stuff.
You know, I mean, it sounds great if they did, because I mean, I talked to a woman last week about an issue, and last man cheated, and kind of found out all the men she ever dated cheated. So she has this negative thing about black women, black men are crap to her. I said, now what type of? Then I said and asked her, if all the men cheated, what are you picking?
Right.
And when you ask these questions, you kind of find out these were nothing but rotten fruit on the ground.
Right.
You can't pick up a rotten apple and complain that it has a worm in it.
Right.
Right. It tastes awful. It wasn't no good. That don't make sense. Pick the apple off the tree and be done with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So as a man, if you would say to black women, sometimes we see you as our enemy because what?
Man, that's a double-edged sword. Lack of communication, lack of accountability. Black women in general, but especially black women, they have an issue with, if I did something to hurt you today, why are you telling me about it two months later? I'm not even going to remember what happened today.
Right.
If then when it comes to all relationships have problems. That's not no perfect relationship. I don't care how many movies Walt Disney throw out there. There's nothing. There's no fairy tale ending relationships. There's live happy ever after. We all like to achieve that. I can tell you now that's not going to happen.
Right.
But in a sense, there's going to be problems. You have to come to the table and you have to talk about these issues. And you got to have accountability for the mistakes that you made. And you can't sit here and bring problems up a month, 2 months, 3 months, 5 months after you get pissed. And you tell a gentleman all the problems that he done had or he done in the past 3, 4, 5, 6 months. I'm not going to remember none of that stuff.
Right.
I can't remember what I ate yesterday. How am I going to remember what happened last week, a month ago?
True.
In fact, I don't even know what I did eat yesterday.
So we have a comment. Facebook user said, where is black men as enemy number one enemy on the list? Nearly they got $5,000, but 5,000 kill each other every year. I think that's another topic. We'll talk about that a little bit when we get to how the media portrays black men. But right now we're talking about why is it that black men sometimes see, or is it factual that sometimes black women are Black men's public enemy number one.
They
Uh,
can be. It just if you stop the bashing, it's basically due to the bashing. How you down us, degrade us, put us
mhm,
down, but you want us.
mhm,
But you don't pick quality men. And
mhm,
that's where accountability comes in at.
mhm,
You know, right off the bat, because he looked good, dressed good, made him at the club, he looks fine.
mhm.
Looking good is okay. Everybody wants somebody attractive.
Right,
Fine don't pay no bills. Fine don't protect you.
right,
Fine don't keep the lights on. And fine
right.
don't keep your belly full.
Mhm. Right. All of that.
So you go off looks you want to. You need to find out what this he does. How he's gonna provide for you?
Mhm.
Morals, value, principles. That's what make relationships go long term. And of course, being able to come together and solve problems.
Right. So I have a clip I want to play, and this is a clip of Black women talking about sharing their thoughts and views about dating Black men.
Okay.
Let's take a look, and then we'll come back and we'll give commentary on it.
When I think about Black men and dating in general, I think about their preferences, and sometimes I don't feel like they're always checking for us.
Hello.
So I think specifically of a well-known celebrity who has been highly publicized for beating Black women, but when I think about what his recent comments were about the hair of Black women and who he would date based on her hair texture, it infuriated me thinking that, well, that one, who is a role model for a lot of Black men, is not checking for us. He's making it seem like there's something wrong with having the one B.
But do you realize you said that one? That could be for any
but
race.
That's not just
it's
him.
That one.
It's not
but
just
it's not
him.
just him. Within the industry, they are fetishizing mixed women.
They do.
For sure.
They
But
do.
not
Well, for
all.
excuse me, for yes, for well, but just if you have
Exotic.
any sort of exotic, and that's the problem.
You're right.
That's what you're talking
right.
about.
You're absolutely right.
Thank you. I'm going to go all the way back there.
I grew up in a family that I was too dark. Okay? I was too dark, but then at the same time, my grandfather was a white man. But as I grew up, Black men weren't interested in me. White men were attracted to me, okay? But my attraction was always a Black man. That's what I want in my life, okay? The Black men, they're there for us. There's an understanding, I don't have to try. I can just be.
All right. Let's get into it.
Y'all gonna put me on World Star after this one.
So, what do you think about what she said? She's saying that Black men are not necessarily, especially once they become, well-to-do or what have you, they're not really checking for Black women.
Well, she mentioned Black men are not checking for the women preferences.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted more context, but I think that's stretching way out there.
Mm-hmm.
You pick the man. It goes back to accountability. You pick the man. Why you pick a man? Don't care about what you want to do, your goals, your dreams, your aspiration. Mm-hmm. That's your fault. That's not Black men.
Mm-hmm.
She throwing it out there like it's a majority. No, Black men are not that way.
Mm-hmm.
But if you pick a no good man who's self-centered, then that's your fault. That's not a Black man issue.
Mm-hmm. And
that's what I get from that.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's the thing I keep going back to is accountability. Quit throwing the blame on Black men. It's you. Look in the mirror. It's y'all. Picking these knuckleheads that are self-centered. Because any good Black man, he's going to do everything he can to make your dreams come true, mm-hmm. try to make your goals come true. Mm-hmm. Depending on his financial status and income, he might be able to do it. He might not. Maybe he can get you halfway there and you got to meet him somewhere in the middle. Mm-hmm. But every man's going to try to do that. All good men will. If you pick somebody who's self-centered, it's always about him, that's who you pick. It's not the man's fault. It's not all black men are that way. It's just no, the one you pick is that way.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. As far as black men turn into exotic women, which is the point that the lady was trying to chime in with, yeah, they are. I ain't even going to deny that. So I don't call them exotic. Just they're starting to date other minority women. Whether it's did they go to Asia, Mexico, South America? I don't care, because black women, there's a problem in our society. Black women are not taught how to be wives. They're not taught how to be women. All this modern women independent thing has gotten way out of hand, and there's got a lot of black women dying alone, or that would never get married. They might be somebody's boyfriend, or they might have been engaged 8, 10, 12 times.
Oh, wow.
They never made it to the altar because there was something with you. It's not the men. He thought you would change. He was hoping you would change. You never did. And hey, the engagement called off. Oh, I canceled all my engagements. You did? Tell me what was going on in the relationship. What made you cancel it? And it still go back to you picked the man. Yes, the man approached you. He talked to you. But it don't take long to figure somebody out. I don't care if you meet their representative the first or second time. Eventually, you're going to see who that real person is by asking questions. And you'll get to know who that person is. Black man dating exotic, going overseas. Yeah, they are starting to do that in large growth. I done had a few other veterans. Hey, Corey, why don't you come overseas, man? You found some good women over there. Well, I'm trying to hang in there, man. I ain't giving up on the sisters just yet. I'm getting there, but I'm still hanging in.
Right.
But men are doing that because we don't. Nobody wants to grow old by themselves.
Right.
We want a wife. We want to have a family. How long do we wait? 10, 15 years to find the right one? Like culturally, they can go overseas and find a good woman instantly that have those values. Because I've been to over 130 countries, so I'm very well traveled. It's a night and day difference between America and other countries. And black women who never left the country don't see that. And y'all don't understand. Y'all in competition with other women, with Latino, white women, Asian, South America. You're in competition with other women. And these women are taught how to be wives. They taught how to cook, to clean, be submissive. But that's their culture. And we have left that. Y'all been sold this independence, modern woman. I don't need a man crap. And here you go. And look what they got you. You're single. People don't want to men don't want to deal with that. I tell people all the time, I'm not Captain Jack Sparrow. There's no mutiny on my ship. I ain't fixing to walk the plank because you upset. No. Because you want to be the head of the captain. No. If you most people are Christians in America. So if you a Christian faith with Christian backgrounds, the man is the head of the house. Why are you trying to rewrite the Bible or change it to your viewpoints? I don't understand it. If that's the case, change religion, change something. But most people are Christians. So if you're talking to men in general, that's part of the background and morals and values and principles they have. It's from their Christian upbringing. So if they Muslim or top 2 religions, so I don't know what else you can expect them to do. Because nobody wants to die alone. They're gonna eventually they get in their 30s and they say, well, darn, I can't. I'm 35 and still haven't met a good black woman. What am I supposed to do? Wait till I'm 50 and try to have kids? No. They starting to go overseas, and I as much as I don't like to see it, I love to see black men with black women and black women with black men. But I don't frown upon if they dating outside their race. I'm like one of those who holler up and down about it. But in the same token, y'all have to realize you are competing.
Right.
And you have to compete, even if you're competing amongst yourselves. So remember, what you won't do, somebody else will. What you don't bring to the table, somebody else is bringing it to the table. If you can't cook, I promise you, there's a whole bunch of other women who can cook. So if you can't cook, learn how to cook.
Right.
If you don't know how to be a wife, it's in the Bible. Take some classes, learn it, because you're just as a competition, and the best woman is gonna win. Traction has.
How do you think that's going to go over with Black women? Hearing you say that they don't know how to be wives, or they were not taught, or they were not raised to be wives, or those that were raised to be wives, they've gotten away from it. They've gotten to the point where they say, well, I'm not doing all that. You know, grandmama did all that, mama did all that, great grandmother did all of that. I think some people call, I don't know if they call their grandmother or their great grandmother like Big Mama. They did all that, but I'm independent. I make my own money. I'm college educated. You know, I'm not going to be going to work all day and come home and cook. And, oh, I'm not going to quit my job, you know, just because he want me to. And, you know, they come with all of this in mind, or I like to call it I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar syndrome.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
I like to call it that. And so what happens then when a Black man comes forward and say, well, Black women are not trained to be wives? How do you think that's going to go over?
They're not going to like it, but if they sit back and think about it, what does it take to be a wife? Do you bring those things to the table? One, are you submissive? Most Black women are not. They want to be the captain. You can't tell them what to do. They're not going to listen. They're not going to follow what you're telling them. You know, you can't just go get them a set of instructions and they're going to do it. They're going to do it their way, or it's not going to be right. That's number one. If you can't be submissive, then you probably can't be a wife. Number two, you said you're cooking. If you can't cook, I mean, come on now. I mean, I don't even know why. We don't even need to go down that avenue. Don't leave that alone. That speaks for itself.
Cardi B said she don't cook or clean, but she still got a ring.
And that's nonsense. No, let me put that in context.
Yeah.
Who said that? Cardi B, or was it
Cardi B? No, okay. Cardi B said.
Oh, yeah, Black women, y'all gotta look at this. Y'all don't have Cardi B money,
right?
And the guy you're dating don't have Offset money. They
Right.
can hire maids, chefs to cook their food.
Right.
It's different when you're making millions and millions of dollars. You don't have to cook.
Right.
You can hire somebody to cook. Y'all not there. You're not on that level. Everybody can't be multi-millionaires, singers, producers, rappers, movie stars. I mean, you're not there. So go break it down to reality. If you're not there, learn how to cook. Just plain and simple. That's an old saying that's so true. And I tell women all the time, a way to a good man's heart is through his stomach. That's why I don't eat single women for cooking. You ain't setting me up for the okie doke. But I'm telling you, if you can cook, that changes the game to a man. It just does. And all that nonsense, not cleaning, not being submissive, and still getting the ring. Cardi B brings a lot more to the table than more than 90% of 95% of Black women. She's a multi-millionaire recording artist, so everybody can't be that. So that's the biggest difference when you hear these celebrities, these rappers and musicians say this type stuff.
Yeah.
They can do that.
Right.
I don't know about you. I mean, Floyd Mayweather talking about his chef cost him $10,000. I want to say a day, but he might have meant the week. But $10,000 a week, who's spending that type of money on a chef?
Right.
We can do it because he's rich like that. But everybody can't afford that. Hey, that's more than most people's income in a month.
The whole year.
So why we talk about this foolishness is beyond me. And then, like you mentioned, clean, cooperative, supportive, nurturing. These are traditional wife values that we have gotten away from. And men still want these type values. And if they can't find it, well, they're going to go somewhere where they can find it, where the women still have those values and it's instilled in them. And I don't know why women today, my generation and under, are not teaching their kids, and men too. So I'm not going to say just women are not being taught. It's also men are not being taught how to be men, and women are not taught how to be women, wives and husbands. They're not there. And it's sad because I see it all the time, and I'd be like, most you got pants hanging down and
Mm-hmm.
go to a job interview and t-shirts and jeans
Mm-hmm.
and wonder why they can't get hired. I'm not hiring you.
Right.
You're not looking like that. You're not even presentable for the interview. We don't even need to have one.
Right.
Oh man, it's about my qualification. What I can do. Well, right now you're not qualified because you don't have enough common sense to come in here to look presentable.
Right.
So why want to hire you?
Mm-hmm.
So I tell, I keep, and I can beat this, and I'm pretty sure I ain't the only one that's saying. There's plenty of
Mm-hmm.
people saying this. My niece just got in trouble for saying some things about coming out with bonnets on,
Mm-hmm.
and they jumped all over her.
Mm-hmm.
You have, if in the Bible, for those who are Christian,
Mm-hmm.
it mentioned a lot of people like to use this story, Boaz and Ruth.
Mm-hmm.
When Boaz found Ruth, she
Mhm.
was already a wife, meaning she was wife material. She knew what she had to do. She
Mhm.
carried herself like a wife. She went out here dressing in skimpy, half-naked clothes,
Mm-hmm.
see-through clothes and all that. She presented herself and carried herself as a wife. And when you present yourself that way, and you carry yourself that way, you act that way, men notice that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like bees attracted to honey. Good men are attracted to that.
Yeah.
If you, and that's the difference between it's about if you want good men and you want husband material, then present yourselves as wives and you'll attract husband material type men who are providers and protectors, not these nugget heads that's here trying to get a one night stand, get the rocks off. I'm allowed to say that, right?
Yeah, you can say that.
You're not tracking men who are just trying to get the rocks off or get some feel good for the night or so on. And when you do that, like I say, you're not caught up dating somebody for 5. Please, women, black women, do not. I'm saying it as a black man. Please, don't date nobody for no 2 years without no ring. If y'all ain't married in 2 years, you need to let that joker go.
Right.
Black women are so big on holding on because of love and companionship. Men don't do that. If you don't meet the qualifications we got, we move on to the next.
Mm-hmm.
That's how good men are.
Mm-hmm.
Don't waste your time. You're not getting younger. We all getting older. Time is ticking. If you want a family, if he can't put a ring on it, I tell him by within a year, depending on if you're living together or not. If you're not living together, it might take a little longer. But once you start living together, after about 3 to 6 months, a man gonna know whether you're the one he needs to marry within 3 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
After that, engagement can be a year long or 6 months, depending on what y'all got planned. And COVID right now got everything wacky. So let's just say engagement goes a year. Because you might want your whole family there and due to COVID restrictions in certain states and cities and counties. Maybe you can't, maybe it's limited to 10 people, or 15. I think for a while it was like 15 or 10, depending on what state and city you was in. So that's not a whole lot of family members on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to be the one have to pick between mom, dad, and my favorite aunt and grandma.
Right.
So, no, I just wait.
Right. Exactly.
But women don't date nobody that long. If you can't put a ring on and leave that joker alone, because y'all should be married. Any good man will tell you that. If they haven't put a ring on in a year or two, you're wasting your time.
I saw this lady. She said, listen to this, Corey. She said she was with her live-in boyfriend, right? 12 years.
Whoa.
So she asked him, year number 12, she asked him, so what are we doing? He was like, what you mean what we doing? She was like, so are we going to get married or what? He was like, yeah, one day. You already got 12 years in. To me, that's 12 years a slave. You could have started your own movies, 12 years a slave, And she said that he proposed to her, but he never got her the ring. So to me, that was him manipulating the situation to keep her probably in that same category or non-title category for another 12 years. And she was asking the question like, what should she do?
Leave.
Yeah.
ASAP, leave, or kick him out if it's your place.
Yeah.
There's no good man that's gonna date you that long.
Yeah.
I'm telling you like this: if you're a good woman, if you're
Mhm.
really a good woman, you have what it takes to be a wife. You're not gonna be in the market very long.
Right.
Once a good man spot you and talk to you and feel like you got everything
Mhm.
that you're supposed to have and he needs
Mhm.
for himself to go the distance, he's taking you off the market
Yeah. And
that
let,
quick.
let me piggyback on that. Now, women, you might say, "Well, I'm a good woman. You know, I meet the qualifications of a wife, and I've been single a long time." Are you hiding yourself? That's the
Yeah,
thing.
that's very important.
That's the thing. Are you keeping yourself away from where a good man can find you? We want to talk about Ruth and Boaz. Everybody wants a Boaz, but don't nobody want to do what Ruth did. Ruth got up and went where he was, you know, and she did something. Sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone. Sometimes you have to do something that you wouldn't necessarily do. Sometimes you have to go places you would not necessarily go. Now, if you're of a Christian faith or whatever, I'm not telling you to go out here and get buck wild and get crazy. But what I am saying to you, and to just to give you more content on what he's saying, you're not going to be on the market long. Once you put in your mind, okay, I'm ready to get in a relationship, I'm ready to go there, go here, do this, or what have you, and you start letting it be known that you're available. You're not just single, but you're also available. Because a lot of you women are single, but honey, you are not available. And you're not as approachable as you think you are. That's a whole nother show. In fact, that's a book that's coming out.
I want to add to that.
Hmm.
Women, please, black women, please understand this.
Hmm.
You have to be approachable.
Hmm.
Nobody want to walk up there and you got your mean mug shot face on. Nobody's
Hmm.
gonna approach you with that
Right.
nonsense.
Right.
Nobody's gonna approach you and you look not apart. You just look bummy. And I don't.
You
We
you
might.
hesitated. You hesitated.
We
So,
might. We might.
were you trying to say ugly? You kind of
No, I mean like
hesitated.
you're not
What
put
you trying
together
to
as far
say?
as the clothes. You
Okay.
just,
Okay.
I'm talking about clothes.
Okay.
Not for no. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Got your bonnets, hair rollers, and all that crazy stuff.
Right.
Going out at Kroger's, Publix, at the grocery store, whatever grocery store is in your city.
Uh-huh.
No, don't do that.
With slides
Um,
on, and then get mad when somebody says something to you, or you get an attitude like, "Oh, you take me as I am." No, baby. Nobody has to take you like that.
See, I like that statement. When people say that, take me as
Hmm.
I am. God, I say, God take you as you are, as a thief, a murderer, a rapist, or whatever you are. But you're gonna have to change to stay with him.
Hmm.
So you're gonna have to change. You can't just do that.
Right.
Um, that's just crazy. Women, please don't date nobody that's ain't gonna put a ring on, that's not serious about marriage. Find out what the status is after 3 months of dating. You should know are you a girlfriend or not. If you're not a girlfriend by about 3 months, move on.
Yeah.
Don't waste your time.
Yeah.
You're wasting your time, their time, and people emotions are involved.
Yeah.
Another thing I would like to add to that.
Hmm. Say it.
When I'm talking about making yourself available,
Hmm.
going to work, to church, and back home is not being available. And of course, the grocery store. You got to get outside of that and be around where good men can see you. Where you go into a event,
Hmm.
charitable event,
Hmm.
something where good men would be.
Hmm.
That's you can be seen and scooped up.
Yeah.
Family barbecues don't count. That's a whole bunch of family members,
Right.
maybe and some friends.
Right.
But get out there and put yourself out there.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of singles events going on in different cities or whatever. You might have to drive a little bit,
Yeah.
but put yourself out there because we live in a country. Of course, you're gonna have to go to a big city where the good men are making good money, so you can be scooped up. And don't be afraid to have a man approach you. Don't get all butterflies and can't speak.
Hmm.
And don't be mean.
Don't
Now, if
be
you're not, Some people are, man. Like,
Yeah.
like I said the first show, I mean, if you don't have a pickup line, they don't want to talk to you. So,
What was your pickup line? What was that?
um,
What was that one you used? I can't
no, the one
remember.
I used on the last show, girl, you look so sweet. You gave me tooth decay.
Yeah.
Uh, there's a whole bunch of them I could say, but just don't have time. Good men are very straightforward. We're gonna tell you like it is. Hey, I like you. You look nice. We like to change numbers. Oh man, I love the outfit you have on. I love your hair. They give you a compliment. Then they're gonna proceed forward with probably asking for your number, or asking, hey, would you like to go out sometimes? That's pretty much it. You might call that lame. Hey, then it's lame. I don't care. That's all we're gonna say.
Yeah.
Time is money. Money is time, and that's how that's good, man. We value our time because most of us are very busy. We got our own business. We're running companies. We're doing things. So keep it short, sweet, and simple, as I say.
Yeah.
3 S's.
Yep. You made a point earlier. I want to hit on this, and then we're going to get right into the next two topics because I do have some more videos to show. You made a point earlier about no one wants to die alone, and I think sometimes when we hear that as women, we think that you're only talking about women dying alone, but that's not true. And I remember talking to a friend of mine. He's almost, I think, 60,
Mm-hmm.
and he said to me, Benita, the older a man gets, the more compassion he desires, and the more companionship he desires. And that was the first time I had ever heard that. So a lot of times I think we just look at we have a one view of men and how they are. We view them as, of course, non-emotional, almost non-caring at times, insensitive and sometimes narcissistic. But we never stop to think sometimes that, hey, he might want to be held. Hey, he might just want to ask somebody to ask him, so how your day was. Just the simple things that mean so much to us. What if it means the same to him? He may not express it the same way, but what if he needs it in the same way? And so when he said that to me, that really um, changed a lot in me and how I thought about men getting older and being single as well.
Well, I did say nobody wants to die alone. I
Yeah,
did just say women, but nobody
yeah,
does.
yeah.
And yes, men, I can't say we get need more companionship as we get older, but you definitely, if you don't have somebody in your life, you want somebody in your life
Hmm.
because you don't want to grow old by yourself, and you don't want to grow old without somebody's there beside you.
Hmm.
Friends is different, but when you have a loved one, that's someone you love, a woman, it's a totally different thing. And I
Hmm.
always tell people, like Batman and Robin, you know, women, God put women here for a reason,
Hmm.
and as our advisor, a helper, and you can say sidekick if you want to, if you like superheroes.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, we both need each other. We want each other. We just have to find a way to come together and make it work. And yes, we don't want to die alone. We want companionship, but we don't want to fight for that companionship. We don't want to argue and bicker and debate for that companionship.
Hmm.
Men are less. We don't show our emotions. We do have emotions, but we don't wear them on our shoulders and show them like women do.
Hmm.
We keep them to ourselves. And that's the way we
Right.
are taught as men. Nobody cares about your feelings. Keep your mouth shut and bite the bullet and keep moving.
Hmm.
Be tough and manly and all that. But
Yeah.
we have these things that on our minds that weigh us down that we don't share. We might share with our homeboys or other people outside of the house, but
Hmm.
it's a relief when you can share it within the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a woman has to be approachable. You can't be one of the ones who I be vulnerable today.
Yeah.
6 months down the way, I piss you off and you stab me with it.
Yes.
That's never gonna work. That's a
Hmm.
very condescending, and that's a good way to end a relationship.
Hmm.
If a man can't trust you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's good. And that's a good segue into the next point. Um, his ego. Let's talk about the black man's ego and his pride. And I have a couple of videos I want to share with you all on that as well. Do you think black men, their ego is bigger than it should be? What do you think when you hear a black man, when you hear people say, like the comment last time said, no, the black man's enemy is his ego and pride? Is there any truth to that?
I disagree with that. Do some people have pride issues? I would agree. A few do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to use the word pride. I call it more they're just too cocky.
Mm-hmm.
More cockiness than anything.
Mm-hmm.
When you believe you the it, you act this that way.
Mm-hmm.
I did for a little while. When I'm in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very good at what I did as an engineer, but I don't think it get in the way of a relationship. It might get in the way in work relationships,
Mm-hmm.
but not in a girlfriend, boyfriend, fiance, husband, wife type relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Because men are quick to problem solve and discuss and talk and be logical thinkers.
Mm-hmm.
Women seem not to be, because they worry about emotions and what this man gonna think about me if I show myself or be vulnerable. And men think the same way. Well, if I share this to this woman, she gonna stab me with it 2 months down the road if I piss her off. Because women have very sharp tongue that's very lethal. Man, y'all can dice a man up pretty quick with your tongue. And it don't always be just behind closed doors. It's usually out in public or in front of his friends, and that's very dangerous. That's ego crushing. But men are very, everybody's prideful. Everybody has egos. But I don't think they get in the way. A black man let his ego get in the way of any relationship or in a woman. Pride, some might, but it's not the majority.
Yeah. So let's look at this clip. I think it's about 4 minutes long. A question was asked. A black woman asked this question: is the black man's ego fragile? Let's take a listen. And for those of you that may be offended, I think there are a few words in here. I'm not going to try to take the time to beep them out, but let's take a listen at what his answer is to the question.
Sharon, because there's like 4 H's, asked, why is the black man's ego so fragile?
I think that I have a problem with this question because this is a generalization. That's a general, like a blanket statement. I don't feel like all black men, our egos are fragile. I don't think that. But what I will say is that for a black man whose ego might be fragile, you gotta look at the black man's history, right? Over hundreds of years. The black man has been, and I'm not saying this by black women because I'm not one of those people that say black women don't support black men. By no means. The black man has been dragged, murdered, raped, taken advantage of in public. These are things I'm saying in public. Discarded, forgotten about. A lot of different things. I feel like for somebody whose ego who can be fragile is our egos are essentially like the DNA of who we are.
Yeah.
So specifically, I don't know, like if Shannon was saying this about maybe a few black men she may know, or just black men in general. But what I will say is like people, I wouldn't say I completely don't have an ego. I think that there's levels to ego.
Yes.
So I feel like for me, my ego is who I am, but like I'm still learning who I am. There's no like top level of who I am. So I'm receptive. That's why I don't have the ego when it comes to like the level of like feeling that nobody, like we untouchable, right? I feel like for me being a black man, in every sense of the word, unapologetically, there are a lot of black men who do work on themselves and try to build themselves up. And when they feel disrespected, they protect and they guard that. I mean, back to the first or second episode we did, we talked a lot about nature, right? And in nature, if you look at nature, like animals have ego. When a male lion wants to mate with the lioness, he telling everybody, yo, get the fuck from around here. He'll fight whoever he has to get them away so that he could do what he needs to do. And she goes with the one who's the strongest.
One who fucks with her more, yeah.
Right. So I feel like the ego that the black man may have, there's a lot of things that play into it. That's why I can't answer that in a general question standpoint.
Yeah.
For me, do I have an ego? Yes. Do I have an ego in the space of I feel like nobody can tell me what to do, or I'm the top dog and nobody can't tell me shit? Nah, that's not who I am. My ego is strictly letting people know who I am and showing who I am, my confidence. I also feel like confidence goes in the ego, but you shouldn't be threatened by others' confidence in themselves.
Right.
Mm-hmm. If that answers, Shannon, hopefully I helped.
Hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call this chapter of your life right now? Just give it a title. What do you call this chapter?
What do I call this chapter of my life? If I could give this chapter of my life a title, I'll call it understanding. I would call it an understanding.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
All right, what you think about that?
I think he said it best.
Yeah.
And I agree with him 100%. As a fellow black man, we all have egos and pride, but we don't let it get in our way.
Right.
We're very confident, but if a woman says something that's to that level, it is deemed as disrespect. And then you get those type of reactions that some black women want to harp that always happen on, but you did something it was highly disrespectful. You said something that or did something that wasn't supposed to happen. But no, I mean, it's no different than a black woman. She has pride and ego in her ego. I was to say, girl, your hair look like a mess. That might hurt somebody.
Right.
Or, well, girl, what type of outfit you got on? That don't even match. That don't even go together. What is that? I mean, you're going to be hurt and you're going to react. How dare you?
Right.
Once again, everybody has pride and ego.
Yeah,
I don't care what.
I think so too.
That thing group
I
you
think
are.
so too. But she was saying, her question was like, is the black man's ego fragile? Like you said, I think we all can be fragile at times, depending on the weaponry that you're using. If a woman is using her tongue as her weapon of choice, yes, I do think she can cause a black man to have a fragile ego.
Let me say this, and everybody has an ego and pride. But if you attack somebody's vulnerability spot, their sensitivity spot, let's say, for instance, everybody had people in their family that had cancer, and some go through chemo, some don't. But if you go through cancer, your hair, shave your head, your hair come out, or whatever, and you say something about them being bald, girl, what happened to your hair? You used to have hair, and maybe you didn't know that they had cancer. They're gonna be hurt by that because that's her ego. Her hair is gone, and you just hit that spot. Same thing for a man. If a man is short, and you may have to hear all these short jokes all his life, and you say something trying to be funny, and that's a short joke, that's his pride and ego.
Yeah.
So we all have these vulnerable spots that you can attack, and it hurts very deep.
Yeah.
So did I say that in general is it fragile? No, but we do have every man has a certain thing that he's sensitive about
Right.
in him. Where, it could be his height or something. He ain't a good cook. He ain't a good speller. Or whatever it might be. We all have certain things that we have weaknesses in.
Yeah.
And around that can be where our ego can be attacked and our pride.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So our last topic tonight, and we're going to get ready to get out of here because I got some homemade vegan chili soup I made and some some peach jalapeno cornbread I made from scratch today.
Jalapeno. Ooh, good Lord.
Peach, but the sweet and the spicy together. So it's delicious. So let's talk about this last one. This is one you brought this point to light, and I have some videos. I want to get through all of the videos. So, but I do want you to talk. I'll let you give your spiel on how the media portrays Black men, and then I'm gonna go straight into the videos so we can get all the videos shown, and then we'll come back and we'll close out, let you have the closing words. So let's talk about how the media portrays Black men.
I'm going to broaden that just a little bit. I'm going to add Black women in it too.
Okay.
Black men are always seen to be violent, confrontational, thugs, gangster, no good for nothing. Baby daddy not there to support, being baby daddies and not being there for the kids. All this nonsense. Black women are attacked. If a Black woman gets upset, start cursing or saying anything, that's an angry Black woman. That's an angry Black woman. That type of thing. And Black women, a certain power, try not to come off that way.
Right.
When Michelle Obama was attacked years ago, and by Fox, saying shit like ape and gorilla, and I'm like, whoa. They had somebody saying that, I'm like, on national TV, and I'm like, wow. Yeah. I can imagine what she was acting like behind closed doors on that one. But in the same
orangutan.
Yeah, somebody said something acting like a orangutan. Well, I tell you. That was another video that I think that was on, but Black men are not that way.
Right.
Black people in the whole is demonized by the media. Y'all can't bite on these stereotypes. Black women and black men. Black women listen to the media demeaning, degrading Black men, and Black men listen to the media degrading Black women as a whole. Right. No, we're gonna have to stand up and be for one another and support one another and come together. And you see these, I'm glad they come out with Black Panther. Now we got a superhero. Yeah. But in all these movies, we had no representation of or somebody for us to look up to as role models. We always been portrayed as dim-witted, not so bright. Imagine the fallback when they try to recast 007, the actor from British, the Black actor. Yeah. They went up. Yeah, they had a frenzy. Oh no, he can't be 007. He fits the role. Has the accent in front of the country, plays a part very well. But no, they couldn't see a Black man being in that role. So these are the things. With me going overseas and I see so much of what America has tried to portray Black people as a whole, putting us down and we a bunch of stupid clowns and all that, making us. I'm like, wow, really? Right. Y'all doing this over here too? Oh no, that's sad.
Right.
But I tell people, if you sit here and listen and get consumed up in today's modern world, technology, music, you'll start to think there's no good men. All women are hoes. Men are pimps and simps, sugar daddies, and that's it. You'll never find a husband or wife. Ain't no good ones out here. There's a bunch of trash, and that's not the case.
Yeah.
So just don't get caught up in the media and the firestorm, especially on those who love to watch Fox. Oh my God, please turn the station.
They had a judge that says that I think someone tried to sue Fox for defamation of character, but the judge said that because Fox is not a reputable news source, not to worry about anything they say because they're not a reputable news source. So, a lot of times I do think the media and even Hollywood does black men an injustice. And it was funny that you were saying they think the only roles we can play is drug dealers, thugs, and gangsters. I have a video that speaks directly to that point you just made. And I want to play this video. And what I'll probably do, I'll probably just play the videos back to back. I did forget to play one video when we were talking about black women. I want to go back and I want to grab that one real quick. And then we'll go into the, because I thought this one was just so befitting for our conversation. Let me grab that video real quick and play that one. And then after that video, we'll go right into the video on how the media portrays black men.
Okay.
For celibate Coro, he is unable to see that the anger he perceives in women of color is actually manifesting within himself.
I think black women are angry because they've been lied to, they've been cheated on, they've been hurt in their past relationships by men, and they have lack of trust.
I always talk to black women, they don't want to talk to me. Men and I talk to a white woman, they get mad. You want to think you're mad? I'm mad too. There's a lot of anger inside of me. What about us? Black women talk about me, me, me. What about us black men? We go through stuff too. We're tired of hearing the same thing of, oh, we're independent women. We're independent this, we're independent that. I'm independent too. We have a lot in common. You have this imaginary wall around you. I don't know who damaged you. And me being a black man, I have to suffer for what somebody did to you? That has nothing to do with me. I'm not the enemy. I get that a lot from black women, that we're the enemy, we're liars, cheaters, we're dogs. It's okay. Diary of a Mad Black Man. I have a journal I keep. And then when I show this side to women, they think it's a weakness. This is not a weakness, it's actually a strength. But then when I show this to you, to black women, you don't know how to receive it.
Yeah.
Because you're so used to being abused. It makes it hard for me to get to know this.
Hello, my beloveds. Thank you so much for stopping by.
What do you think about that? That was powerful.
Yes, it is. I mean, it says a lot there.
I felt his emotions just bubbling up in his heart.
A lot. I think almost every black man feels his pain and understands where he's coming from, because we feel the same way. Just like that woman in that previous video talking about, oh, men are dating exotics. No, we want black women, but we're not gonna sit here and wait forever. We're getting older. We want to have a family, and we got to make tough decisions. Yeah. And like he said, when I date a white woman, oh, I'm this and that. Or y'all see all black men because you date one bad one, there's all dogs, thugs, no good. Woman beaters and all this different stuff that don't fit the scenario.
Yeah. That was powerful. That was a powerful video. Let me go right into this. Here's 11 stereotypical roles that Hollywood portray black men to be.
Hello. I'm here to audition for the 11 roles black men are stereotyped to play. Mamadou, non-union. Yo, pass me the rock. Yo, pass me the rock again. Pass me the rock. Well, I don't know nothing about opening no kale refinery, but I know that if you got a song in your heart and a skip in your step, gon' go far, young blood. Yo, so I know there's a killer on the loose, but I left my Ray-Bans in the car, so I'm going to go get those alone. See y'all in a few minutes. Welcome to Africa, my brother. No, do not ask what country. It doesn't matter. For the last time, I do not know where the blood diamonds are. Get out of my country. I'm not here to win. I'm here to make friends. Thank you so much, Miss White Lady, for getting me a bed. I ain't never seen one before. I used to live in the Panasonic TV box out behind the Costco. Son, you're the man of the house now. Dad's gotta go to the gas station, pick up some smokes. It's real far away. 18 years away. I'm in here for 12 counts of battery and 14 counts of possession. And when I get out of here, I'm gonna go see my daughter. I love her so much. In the water. Wait, man, I hate this shit. I miss Africa. Also, we were never immigrants. I'm tired of these motherfucking stereotypical roles that these talented ass black men are forced to play. Thank you. Thank you so much.
That hit right on your point when you were talking about Idris Elba not being given a chance to play the James Bond role. Now we're going to look at this doctor talk about how black men are perceived by media.
You know, most Americans are really very fair-minded, egalitarian people. We believe in equality for all races, all genders. The challenge is that while our conscious selves are egalitarian, we still hold these unconscious or somewhat implicit biases that have been primed in us over many years, largely through media and culture. One of those stereotypes is we equate black men with fear. When race drops into a conversation, our executive brains shut down on both sides. So if you are a white American who is, you know, a very fair-minded person, when race is presented to you, your brain will start to wonder, you know, is what I'm about to say next going to be perceived by the other person as racist or biased? And if you are of color, your brain likewise shuts down, right? It says, okay, is something about to come at me that might be an opportunity to invalidate my life experience? Both of your brains are going into fight or flight mode. It's just not a recipe for a meaningful, honest dialogue around something that's so critical and so important. Some of the work that we've been doing with the Campaign for Black Male Achievement is really trying to disarm people's anxiety around dealing with race and black men and boys. If you are conscious of the fact that you are stereotyping.
I'm sorry. I think I cut her off. I'm sorry. I think I cut her off. Well, anyhow, sorry, lady. I want to get to this last one. And we have he's a black man, and he's basically telling black women, in a sense, to give up on black men. Even the interviewer, he was like, so wait, are you saying, you know, telling women to give up on us? So I wanted everybody to hear this because we are talking about this. And this is our last video for tonight. And after this video, we're going to have our closing words and we're going to get out of here. But I do want everyone to pay attention to what he is saying. And here we go.
We have more black women, right, graduating from college, 2-to-1 to black men. You throw in incarceration rates, you throw in the unemployment rates, and you're saying there's just not enough black men.
Well, there are not enough black men for all of the college-educated black women in particular that have the type of husbands that they want to have.
The type that they want to have. Now, I put this out, and we had this conversation yesterday, and a lot of people were chiming in, and I decided to ask for questions from viewers. And one of the questions, simply put, is, do black women deserve better than what black men have to offer? That seems like a very heavy question there, but is that essentially what it is? Do we not measure up to the quality of black women right now?
That's really a great way to put it, and I will admit that I usually think about it from the other perspective, which is that is it fair to ask black women to sacrifice their own happiness on the altar, as it were, of black men's struggles? And
Okay,
I think not.
What is that?
I think not.
Okay, what's that sacrifice necessarily when we're talking about, and I asked you this question yesterday, is it always marrying down if the person you're marrying doesn't make as much money or have the same level of education? Could be a good guy.
Yeah, he could be a good guy, and lots of relationships work across classes, that's true. But it's also the case that for everyone, not simply for the women, but for the men as well, having a spouse who is matched to you educationally in terms of your outlook, your aspirations, your experiences, that's a positive thing. So it's actually not a great thing for the wife or the husband if they're in a mismatched relationship.
All right, and we know a lot of conversations were started yesterday because of this topic, and I had one of these conversations at my house with Mrs. Holmes, and one of these things that keeps coming up is how do you, and the word I think my wife used was reprogram, if you will, black women, because you're suggesting they need to be open to dating outside of their race. But, you know, a lot of black women just like brothers. They like the black man.
Right.
So if you're just not attracted naturally, why have them give up on finding a black man?
Right, that's a great question. And the issue, the way I think of that is that women have been asked to carry a great load. Black women shoulder a lot of the burden, in short, of black men's struggles. And I am asking women to put the burden down. Many women think that they're attracted to black men. They are attracted to black men. But attraction itself is complicated. And one of the things that I discovered in the course of writing this book is that there's a whole host of fears and desires and anxieties that animate black women's attraction to black men.
Okay, and on that, though, I got another question from a viewer. Judy sent in and said, well, it sounds like you're saying, why should black women give up the good fight? You know, you're not telling them to take on a project of fixing a man necessarily, but why just give up on black men?
Right, that is another great question. I actually am asking black women to give up the good fight because the fight hasn't been successful. The fight has not been successful. This is what a friend of mine, Carolyn Edgar, calls a Negro Improvement Project, which is what a lot of black women undertake, and often the results are not so great. So the strategy has been counterproductive. It doesn't help African Americans for us to have black men and black women locked in bad relationships and raising children in households where the parents quarrel and ultimately divorce. Well, that's not a win for anyone.
It is law professor Ralph Richard Banks. The book is called Is Marriage for White People? I think it went on sale on the 2nd this week, and it has started a conversation that I'm sure will.
All right. So, he's basically telling black women to give up the fight of looking or expecting black men to be what we need. The first time I saw the video, I chuckled so hard on the Negro Improvement Project. You know, it's still funny in my head. But what are we to do at this point? Because whatever we're doing as black women, it's not working. Because you still have so many black women that are single. And some of them don't even have prospects, you know.
Yeah, where to begin? We know over 70% of black women are single. That's across the nation. Over 74, 73% are single. That's a lot of black women single. And it boils down to the more educated the black woman is, the standards start to become unrealistic.
Okay.
And what I mean is, because you have your bachelor's, your master's, and maybe you have a PhD, you don't need a man that has four or five degrees. I mean, let's be real about it. Why do you need a man with 4 bachelors, 2 masters, and a PhD? Why the man has to outdo you in order for you to listen to him or for him to be an effective leader? Where that nonsense come from? And yes, that is true. Black women do are higher, more educated, more of them educated than black men. So with that being said, everybody can't go out here. It falls back to what I said earlier, competition. You're in competition with other women for black men. So you have to have realistic standards. If you want to provide it, you want to be a housewife, or maybe you don't want to be a housewife. There are men out here who make pretty decent money that you can find. You just can't sit here and have these unrealistic goals. Some people won't date you. Like there's a lot. I've met a lot of good black women out here, clients and stuff that will not date a black man who does not have a degree. Period. If he doesn't have a college degree, they won't date him. But you want a 6-figure guy, or he has to make over $500,000. But there's a guy I know that makes $3 million looking for a woman. He makes $3 million a year, but he don't have a degree. He has his own business, very successful business. They don't want that. Oh, he has to have a degree. He's not going to understand the importance of education if you don't have a. That's hogwash and that's BS. Education, I tell people, a degree doesn't make you husband material or wife material. It just means that you can follow instructions. That's what a degree tells you. There's a piece of paper says I can read a book and I can follow instructions, or I can be told what to do and I can go do it. That's all it is. And you're good at a certain field, whether it's engineering, science, medical. This is what you can do. It doesn't make the person. A degree doesn't make a person. There's some woman beaters with degrees. There's some cheaters with degrees. It doesn't make you a good man or woman. So it's to look past that and look at what you're supposed to be looking at, which is morals, values, and principles, which is somewhat what the lawyer was trying to say when he talking about you want to match up. But the Bible said if you should be evenly yoked together. Those should match up. Now, as far as cross income, he make less than you and you make more than him and vice versa. It does happen, but it's not the norm. Statistics show black men make more than black women by $10,000 and $20,000 more. So, and I tell people, you don't want to get 60 years old and get ready to retire, and the only thing you're getting for Social Security is $800 a month. By 20 years from now, I might be at $1,000. Try to live off $1,000 a month and see how far you can get off that. That's not going to pay rent in most places. And if it pays the rent, it's definitely going to pay the lights, water, and gas and put groceries on the table at $1,000 a month. And nobody wants to be at Walmart being a greeter till they're 80 or 90 years old. You don't want to work for the rest of your life. So either get realistic goals and standards and quit being on this Walt Disney fairy tale make-believe world of he has to have 10 degrees, he has to be 6'9", he got to be 180 pounds, not a 6-pack, he got to have a 9-pack. All this ridiculous stuff that don't add up. And, he got to have a BMW, Mercedes, a Lamborghini, a Rolls Royce, a Bentley. None of that makes a good man. It's just materialistic stuff. Yes, you want to be provided for. You want to be taken care of. Man, you want to have 3 or 4 kids. Find you a man who can support what you want to have, but don't make your standards so unrealistic that nobody qualifies for it. You don't want to be out here looking for needles in a haystack or making it so hard. It's like you go out in your backyard digging, helping to find some diamonds. No. Or you have a better chance hitting the lottery than you do finding that man that meets your standards.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
Right.
And a lot of women have these ridiculous standards, and it's getting frustrating. And I don't know why black women get. Well, I got a good idea where they're getting it from. It's from the musicians and the music, the media that they sit here and listen to.
Yeah.
Everybody can't have a $1 million man. Right. And if you start putting these standards, because you got to think about it, less than 5% of men, well, less than 2% makes over $1 million. And you're talking about 6 figures, that's less than 10% of men make that type of money. And you talking about black, if that's what all you want to choose, and it's less than 8 to 6%. So you start to drill down the numbers till it gets almost microscopic. And your reality is that you're not going to find it.
Yeah. So
keep your options open. Don't sit here and that Negro Improvement Project. Oh my God. This is what I would tell black women. Don't go out here and you can lift a man up,
Right.
but don't sit here and try to what I call build a potato man.
Right.
Back in the day when we was kid, you had Mr. Potato Man. You know, you put whatever pieces on him. All right. He's not your potato head man.
Right.
This is not. If he's happy making $50,000 a year, then that's where he's happy at. If he has some goals and he's trying to reach 6 figures, y'all can work together and get him up there, or whatever. Invest in him, but make sure he's invested in you. Don't just go put money into a man who's not invested in you also. If he haven't thought of, he ain't trying to put a ring on it, and y'all been dating 2 years, and you're trying to help build him up, but he ain't committing, then no, that's not the man you need to be building up.
Yeah, you building
if
him
you're building up,
up.
Yeah, because if you're going to build somebody up, he should have a commitment in that. Because what happens is, this is one of the stories that Paul will talk about, is black men out here paying for black women to go to college. As soon as they get educated, they leave. Because, now he's not good enough for me. But he paid for you to go to college. He worked his way for you to go to college, and now you're going to kick him to the curb? And that's what's really going on out here. Out here in the black community. But in the same sense, black women, please, that lawyer and what some of the things he's saying, that's just that's ridiculous. As far as back to the media portraying the 11 roles they have for black men, athlete, sidekick, happy African, and charity case, deadbeat dad, criminal slave, angry black woman, had it the same thing with angry black man, angry black woman, athletes. That's all they lost, betrayed, and you see us and most times it's negative. It's never positive. It's always negative. You can't let that soak into your mind and think that's what all there is. Just like I say, over 51% of black men are single, childless, never been married. You got those. You got some of those in the quite a few in the middle class. So there are good, eligible men out here. You just gotta make yourself presentable. Don't come out here looking like no scallywag. No,
I hadn't heard that in a long time.
Looking like some girl that need to be. I call it what they call it, minute nights. We used to say girl of the night type dress. Like you're a prostitute or something, come here, look presentable, look like a wife, dress like a wife, carry yourself as a wife. You'll be made a wife. That's all you got to do. You want to be a wife. Don't have no nasty attitude. Be approachable. Be able to hold a conversation. Speak on things of substance. Ask questions. There's certain questions you should be asking a man.
Yeah.
All that other stuff is, as fillers and stuff. But most important, you need to know, what is a man's long-term goal? Do he want to get married? He don't want to get married.
Right.
What are his beliefs? What are his morals? Value? How many kids he want to have? You want to have kids? He don't want to have. He don't want kids at all. And you want 4 or 5? That's a hard way to come down from 5 to 0. I mean, I might want to go your separate ways. But find where the common things you have in common and try to build on that. That's what you want to do. As long as you find a man that you evenly yoke with and being realistic with yourself, not these ridiculous type standards. I don't know why height is a thing in the black community. Everybody wants a 6'3", 6'4" guy. Nobody want to date anybody under 6 feet, but they 5'1". Come on now. Get out of here. The average height of a guy is 5'8". About 5'8", 5'10". The average height of a woman is about 5'2". 5'6" for black women. But as I'm saying, keep your standards realistic. Don't have them way out on planet Mars, Venus, and Saturn with these standards. Bring them back down to earth. Let's all be humble. Let's stay grounded. Set some realistic standards that you want for a man. You want somebody who can be a provider, who can lead you. Because remember, if you're going to submit to somebody, because I'm speaking to Christian women, if you're going to submit to a man, you want somebody who makes good, sound decisions. But you need to be throwing out scenarios that could come up in a relationship and find out how he answers these type questions. Because any good man can answer any scenario that you throw at him. If there's a whole bunch of let me think. No.
Next.
Good men can think quick on their feet. We don't get rattled too easy with questions and scenarios. I mean, you can hit us with some very hard questions, and like that one that just caught me off guard. Ooh, the exotic woman one, that was pretty far out there.
Yeah.
And I hate how she used that term because they're not black. They got to be exotic.
Right.
No, it's just that nobody wants to die alone.
Yeah.
So you go out here to these other countries and you go pick one, you go get you a woman that has been brought up in these values, traditional values. I think that's what women are starting to lose. Your mother, your grandmother, and your great grandmother were traditional women. What's so bad about that? Everybody want to be this modern woman. You can be that when you're single, but you get in a relationship, men want traditional woman. Want somebody who can cook, clean, be supportive. We don't want to go out and eat McDonald's and Burger King and out to eat at 4 stars, 3 stars, making reservations or whatever the case may be, because we want to die young with diabetes.
Yeah.
Learn how to cook at home. I ain't saying you got to grow your food, but we need to start making healthy, better choices as Black people as a whole, and accountability.
Yeah.
I understand that some women are gonna say, "Oh, they got these no good guys out here, and these deadbeat Black men, and they don't know what they want." I think there was a comment we saw that about men approaching women that they're not ready to take on.
Right.
And I wanted to comment on that, and I didn't get to, but the only way a man gonna know that a woman is way out of his league or not or whatever is he has to approach you.
Yeah.
He can't read your mind from a distance. If that's the case, we all save a lot of time and pain and rejection because nobody wants to be rejected.
Right.
So who can read your mind? But we have to approach you and find out where you stand as far as your principles before we know whether you're somebody to continue on and take on a date, or you can't go on a date.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be going on a date with anybody if you can't foresee yourself being with that person long term. Yeah. If you say, "Oh, this person is not attractive enough for me but I'm gonna go out there and get me a free meal," don't do that.
Right.
No, please don't. There was a thing on national news. This lady been over 100 some dates in a week, and I'm like, how in the world did she pull off that many dates? But she was going on dates just for free food. College student, just trying to get by, going on dates for free food. Don't be that person.
Yeah.
Like I said, there are good men.
I would imagine that's going to be hard for her to eventually find a husband with that article out there, especially if they put her name or her face or something like that.
They put a face on it. Yeah. And dating men that make less money than you, what the lawyer mentioned, there's nothing wrong with dating a man that make less money than you. That doesn't make him inferior, or he's no good, or he can't protect and provide. Just remember, his income is limited to what he has. So if he makes $50,000 a year and you're trying to get a house that costs $4,000, the mortgage is going to be $4,000 a month. No, he's not going to be able to do that. That's $48,000. Taxes come out of his income of $50,000, so that's not going to work. So you have to live within your means. And then if a lot of women don't think about, if you plan on taking off after you have a child, and because you don't want to work for the first year and you don't want to put the baby in daycare or whatever, then the whole load is on that man. So if he got all that load on him, don't pick something that's out of his range that he can afford by himself. And that's what people don't think about. Women are good about wanting in certain things, but they don't think about the cause and effects of what happens later down the road if financial hardship comes. Oh, I take off because we have a child. Oh, darn, I got pregnant again. Now we got back-to-back kids. And now it's 3 years you haven't worked and he carrying the financial load, but you're dogging him out and talking crap about him, but all the weight and struggles are on his shoulder. You should be praising and happy that he's trying to carry the weight on his shoulders, not beating him down and making him feel less than of a man because y'all have 3 kids. And it might be a little tough, but he's still hanging in there with you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
So And the other thing that was mentioned, boy, I would never tell a woman to give up core values and principles and what you want in a man. The stuff that makes sense.
Yeah.
You want somebody to believe in raising kids the old-fashioned way or way you was raised. Okay, I can understand that. That ain't something you can give. You should be giving up. But want a man that's 6'5", 6'8", throw that out the water. Just get rid of that. That standard, that should never be a standard for anybody. It can be a preference, but it shouldn't be a standard. A standard is things that you have to have. A preference is something that you would like to have. So if somebody comes in at 6'2", 5'8", 5'10", that shouldn't be a standard on height. I know women say, well, I don't like short men. Well, what if somebody dates you that's 6'5" or don't like short women?
But sometimes short men make long money.
Yeah, they do. But women don't understand that. They think they don't look at the money aspect or what they provide. They're looking at the height. And there goes that good man that's making over $1 million, $5 million, or $10 million a year because he was a height challenge to you.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Corey, I thank you again for being my guest again. This is going to conclude our episode of dealing with the black man's public enemy number one. We talked about it being the black woman, his ego and pride, and the media. I thank you for so graciously covering all of those aspects. Certainly thank you for all of your honest and transparent input. I want to say to our audience, I try really, my daughter called me right before the show to find out what time the show was starting so she could tune in. And one of the things I said to her, I said, I'm trying to get some women to come on. I said this earlier, but it's difficult to get women to open up and have this kind of dialogue because I know I ask the hard questions sometimes. And sometimes I hit the hard topics that a lot of times we as black people don't want to talk about, or we want to talk, like I said earlier, as black women, we'll talk to each other about the issues we're having with the black man. But when there is a forum like this, we won't come out and have this kind of dialogue so that we can be informed of how the black man think. One of the things that I really, really pride myself on and my show on, which is also part of my brand, is giving black men a platform to come on my show and have their voices heard without any judgment or any backlash of any kind. And I do welcome women as well. However, if women are not accepting my invitations, then there's nothing I can do about that. But as far as black men, I want to tell all of you, thank you so much for all of you that I have ever invited or have ever contacted me and say, hey, look at this video or read this article. I think we should talk about that. And then you not only did that, then you take it a step further and you come on the show to openly talk about the issues that we need to discuss. I want to tell you, Corey, and all the men, thank you so much for trusting me to have this open platform that you all can come on and share your thoughts, views, and opinions and have us to understand you guys better. So with that being said, thank you so much, Corey, for being with us again. This concludes our episode of Black Man's Public Enemy number one. We do have some more interesting topics coming up, and hopefully by the next show, I'll be able to get some women on here, to openly talk about some of these issues. Yes,
Hopefully so. I think it'd be interesting to have a counter discussion from another woman perspective who believes otherwise. Nothing wrong with a healthy dialogue.
Exactly.
A discussion of other different people's viewpoints, and maybe you can find a middle, or maybe you can't. But it's all welcome to welcome any woman to come on that they want me or any other black man, that we could discuss whatever they feel the enemy is as in their viewpoint. Because our show was looking forward to see about 2 or 3 women on here, and I'm thinking, man, I'm gonna be in the hot seat with the questions tonight. But
I put it out there, but like I said, it if they're not ready, I can understand that, and I am known for pushing the envelope and asking the hard questions. You got to be ready for it. For you, it might not be hard, but for most, it kind of puts them in the hot seat, as you said. But
then what do they do then? Here's the question I pose back to them.
Okay.
How do you go on a date and can't handle the questions? Because the man is going to ask you some pretty tough questions. I know I am, and any other man going to ask you about your ex, your ex-husband, ex-boyfriend, or ex-lover. We want to know about your past relationships. We're going to dig in pretty deep, want to know what caused those failures, because usually there's a pattern in those failed relationships. And we're trying to decide, was it the man or was it you? So if you're out here dating, then you're going to be in the hot seat. There's no difference. So being on a show to talk about issues and these tough questions that might be asked, I think dating is a little bit harder because you don't get time to think about the questions that long. Because when somebody asks you a question, you take too long to pause, they know you have to think of an answer because you got hit with a question that you've never been asked before. So you don't even know how to respond to it. Or and a lot of people are saying, oh, well, that's not important. Yes, your past is just as important as your present and the future, because the past tells me where you've been. And the past also tell me where you're going toward the future. Because I could tell there's a lot of hurt from your past relationship. You need to go see therapy because you're still dealing with pain and baggage. Because nobody wants to be judged. If I work late, I come in, I let you know I'm working late. I'm coming in at 10 o'clock. And I come in at 11. Oh, who you was out with? You was out with some woman. Let me smell you. Come here. Let me see if I smell any perfume. I don't want to deal with that because your past boyfriend cheated on you and he came home late every night or whatever. Hey, I'm going out Saturday with the boys. We're going to go to the bar and watch the Atlanta Falcons or the Braves or whatever team that you want to watch. And oh, you going over some floozy out? That's why I want to come too. Let me get my clothes on and I won't come with you. Come on, there ain't no floozy, but if you want to come on. We don't need all that. Because if you get that type of issue, you got trust issue, get them worked out before you get in a relationship. Because you're damaged, why damage somebody else?
That's true.
Think about that.
That's true.
And as far as closing for the night, remember, black women, y'all beautiful, you're queens, but some of y'all let being a black woman, strong and independent, go too far in your heads. And when you start acting out on it and broadcasting it, it's a turnoff to a man. We understand you're independent, you make your own money, you got your own house and car. Okay, that's great. But what do you bring to the relationship that's of value to a man? And you can't talk. I don't want to hear your accolades, how many degrees you have. That's all those degrees and all that doesn't make a relationship go the distance. Are you good at problem solving? Can you cooperate with a man? So there's a thing, so some of y'all been single 10, 5, 20 years. If you've been single that long, you got some other issues because it's hard for a man to be in a relationship with a woman who's been so on her own that you have no history of working with a man.
Okay.
That's bad altogether. So y'all out here say, I'm going to wait for God to send me a man, and you waiting 5 or 10 years. That's working against you.
That's a whole nother show, Corey. That's a whole nother show, honey. I'm trying to tell you. I'm going to have to redo the show. I did a show on the psychological effects of staying single too long. We may have to revisit that one. And we might have to bring that one back out the vault and talk about that again.
Yeah, because this is some of this 2021 issues and some of the things coming out of COVID. There was some issues about that before COVID, but it's really 2021 is really bringing up a lot of common dating problems out here that I'm glad other black podcasts and YouTubers are actually getting out here trying to preach to the hill, and celebrities are now starting to chime in on some of this nonsense that's going on in the Black community, because there's no reason for us. Used to be Black women or Black people as a whole was an 80% marriage rate. It was the highest marriage rate out of any ethnic group in the world, 80% plus. Now we're the lowest at 24%. What's going on?
Yeah, we got work to do. We got a lot of work to do. You know, if I keep doing my part, you keep doing your part, and those of us that are not afraid keep doing our part, I think that we can begin to see some light at the end of this very, very dark tunnel.
Yes, I believe we will. And we just got to get the women to come on. I'm not going to beat you up with any question, but she might. I'll put the gloves on, and but she might take them off. So, but no.
Because I want us to get to the place of accountability more than anything else. And above all, we have got to start seeing things for what it is. I had intended to start my show back earlier, but some of you that follow me regularly know I I had an allergic reaction to some kiwi, and it got really bad. My face was swollen. My throat kept my throat was what is it called? I can't think of the word I'm trying to use, but it would open a little bit and then start closing. It would open a little bit, then start closing. And I was trying to self-medicate for like a day and a half. But then when my throat wasn't opening all the way, I had to go see my doctor. And they put me on steroids. Nobody likes to go on steroids, especially women. Because the first thing steroids do is make your face look puffy. And so I was like, oh God, I can't go on like that. So look, so we're back at full throttle now. And we're thinking about adding a show during the week. So you guys know I'm back on regular schedule, Friday, 7 p.m. I was doing Sunday at 6 p.m., but I want to give you guys time to get your evening stuff done on Sundays as well. So all the shows will be at 7 p.m., regardless of what night. If I come on at night, it's going to be at 7. Every now and then, I'll do something late night, depending on the topic of discussion. And if I think it's not really child friendly, I'll wait till a little bit later on at night to talk about it. So you have time to put the kids to bed, okay? And sit down and and we can get into the meat and potatoes of what we really need to get into. All right. So other than that, thank you all for joining us. Thank you all. Thank you again, Mr. Corey. We had someone who wanted to get in, but they too late. They just sent a message. Oh, we will get you in the next time.
Oh, who is it? Who is it? The female?
No, no, it's not a woman. If it was a woman, I would let her in just to give her some closing words. But
to the fire.
Yeah,
baptized by the fire.
right. Flies in the water. Right. So listen, guys, we thank you so much for tuning in. I do hope something that was said gave you some form of enlightenment. And please know, again, the views and opinions of our guests is not necessarily those of Anita Bradley or Live Talk with Anita Bradley or any of our entities, Resilience Life Coaching and Notary Services, LLC. So again, thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.